All right, the Reds, it's Talking Reds. Me, Gareth Roberts, Craig Hannan with me in our living rooms in quarantine, social distancing, social isolation. I'm on day, I don't even know what day. What day is it? Friday, isn't it? Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. So by Sunday, if I feel all right on Sunday, I think I can see people again, which would be nice. Because I'm definitely going stir crazy here. How are you dealing with the coronavirus crisis, Craig?
Absolutely shit, mate. I'm a person that likes to be amongst people, and we've been working from home now for 7 days. This is the 7th day, obviously the weekend in between that, and it's been shit. I've been out and about. I've got no symptoms. I don't know anyone that's had any or anything like that yet. I'm sure pretty soon we will do. Like, it's gonna come at us like a fucking ton of bricks. But yeah, like going to the shop feels like a treat at the minute. But like there, you know, there's bigger problems in this, isn't there? And you know, needs must.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, last night, I mean, I'm starting to get bored when I'm not doing like work or speaking to the fanboy on Skype or stuff like that. I'm like, what am I meant to be doing here? But one of my mates very kindly pointed out that there was a documentary on ITV last night about when English clubs ruled in Europe. Obviously featuring the mighty Reds. So I watched that, and it was really good. And it was boss, and it was like Phil Neal was talking about why Kevin Keegan had a black eye in 1977, and it was definitely about the 6 different version of heard on why he had a black eye. Like, so, I think someone somewhere is blacking, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. And then afterwards, I was trying to write a piece. I'll have it done for today. But we're all writing pieces this week on the website about our first game. So I started writing about my first game, which was Crew Alexander at home in the Rumbelows Cup in 1990. And
You made that up, mate. There's no way that's a real thing. Rumbelows Cup.
Rumbelows Cup. That's what the League Cup was called in 1990, lad. It was over 2 legs as well. Like, because there was no European football, like the League Cup, even in the early rounds, was over 2 legs, and we won 5-1 at home in the game I went to. There's only 17,000 there. But yeah, anyway, I was writing about that, but I ended up watching the season review from that season, and it was boss. Clive Tilsley was doing the season review, and like, he's good, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like, and like his commentary is the sort of craft and skill around his commentary. I was like, this fella's spot on. And I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the stuff he's been doing from home?
Oh, like, incredible! It's absolutely incredible. I'm made up with it. Like, I love how his wife's there, and his wife's just sort of like going along with it, thinking, look, you know, it's been a while. We're self-isolating here. I'll let him have this. Do you know what I mean? It's like she's almost looking at him like, come on, Clive, less of this. I like to think he just does that in normal, like, everyday life. Like, imagine living with Clive Tilsley, and he's and it's the morning time, and he's going, time to get up.
You know? Well, for people who haven't seen it, there's one where he's commentating on his wife making a lasagna. There's another one where he's commentating on him cleaning the shower. But on the lasagna one, like, he's commentating, isn't he, as the ingredients go in, and then he's like, tomato puree! It's absolutely brilliant. I love all the daft things like that are going on, you know, like the keeping the bog rolls up like that. I thought the Carragher one was brilliant. You know, the idea that he puts the one on there where he's fucked up, you know, that's quality. And everyone's probably doing about 1,000 takes before they throw the video up, and he's like, take one, fucks it up, has a laugh with his missus, throws it up. I thought that was boss.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll be honest, I have been given the toilet roll challenge a go, or whatever it's called, and I mean, the toilet roll is like deformed now pretty much, and needless to say, I've put no videos on the internet, so take from that what you will as to how my toilet roll challenge, or whatever it's called, has been going. But I was
going to say, mate, it's the stay at home challenge, because the toilet roll challenge, I don't think we want to watch that one.
Do you know what? You shouldn't have told me that. And then whenever finally I've been able to get one where I've got like 20 keepy uppies or whatever, and I put it up, hashtag toilet roll challenge. I'm the only one on it.
Anyway, listen, it is Friday. The Anfield Wrap is continuing, as we keep saying. We're going to keep on putting out content. There's been loads this week, video and podcast and stuff on the website, as I just mentioned a second ago. So if you subscribe, get involved, keep listening, keep watching, keep reading. We're going to keep going as well. We're getting as many people as we can to speak to us. We're doing everything we can around the actual sort of news, as much as there is news. But we're doing other stuff as well. We're looking back at old games, speaking to players from the past. We're still doing an AFQ later as well, remotely. We'll see how that goes. Looking forward to that, because it's, some kind of human interaction and that.
Are you going to be on it? Yeah, so am I. Yeah, I'm excited. So, I'm gonna go and get some beers in. I've been telling myself I'm gonna use this period of isolation to drink a little bit less, but like Friday 5 p.m. AFQ. But what I will say is, like, I've really enjoyed, because I've not been in the office and you're not amongst it, and you almost don't know what's coming out unless you look at Neil's various spreadsheets. But like, I've enjoyed getting a little notification and listening. Like, I was listening to the On This Day. I think it was you, John, and Neil talking about the Souness era, about the Genoa game, and I can't remember that because I'm too young for it. So I was hearing it, I've heard about the Auxerre match, but I'd never really heard about the Genoa game because they get beaten. So like, listen to that and then looking it up. I've really enjoyed it. So get on it. If you watch on YouTube, download the app and you'll be able to get all that.
Well, we did a reaction show as well yesterday to the news. The statement that came out that said basically, as much as they possibly can, they're going to try to finish the season, which we all agree, I think, is the common sense approach. A little bit more on that. There's some stuff on the BBC around it today, just saying that there is an acceptance as well that if a return happens, it's likely going to be behind closed doors. And just a little bit of a precedent now for that, in that the Aussie rules season started in Melbourne on Thursday, and that was behind closed doors. I know Gibbo's already started watching that. He hasn't got a clue about Aussie. He hasn't got a clue about Aussie rules, but it's some kind of sport, so it's filling a gap, I guess.
I like this aspect of the, like, I'm excited to see what happens at the other end of this, because there's going to be, like, people are going to come out with like new hobbies and like having mastered new things. Like, I've been thinking about what I can do during this period, like semi-seriously, like thinking about things that I can do that, like, will help me with my career in the long run, marketing stuff and stuff like that, like trying to use this time, but also like little mad things. Like today I found myself driving home thinking, could I become a DJ in this time? Could I learn how to DJ and then I'll be a DJ at the end of this? Which is just a mad thought, but we've got all of this time. That I like the idea that Gibbo comes back into the office at the end of all of this and he's wearing some sort of Aussie rules top and he's got into, Melbourne or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Steve Warnock said on the preview that he's using the time to learn Spanish. So yeah, I think there's loads of people who are having a go at bits and bobs. Got to be honest, I'm so far not.
No, I say all this, like, I've been watching The American Office and apart from that, like, just working from home, like, being quite boring, really.
Well, loads of people will take that approach as well, though. And another thing we are doing this week, we're doing the first one later, actually. Doing a new show called Finding Your Footy Fix, and the idea behind that one is like documentaries and films about footy that are freely available on the internet. Me, Mo, and Kev Walsh are going to watch them and then do a bit of a sort of, Barry Norman film 94 or whatever, or whoever hosts it more recently than that.
One for the kids there.
I'm just eyeing from a coffee. So we're going to do that later, so that should be good as well. If you've got any recommendations for good stuff kicking around as well, lash it in the comment box. But I mean, on the sort of stuff about footy picking up where it left off and all that, I mean, obviously, we're all watching the news at different times as well. I probably wouldn't watch it too much if I was you. I mean, you can get stuck in that mad rut, can't you, where you end up watching it all day, and that's definitely not good for the soul. But I tuned in at the sort of the 5 o'clock press conference yesterday, and obviously you got the Prime Minister saying he reckons 12 weeks before we are turning the tide. He didn't define what turning the tide meant, but I mean, again, it emphasises that we can get excited, and I think we should get excited still and dream about what's to come from football. But equally, like, there are absolutely huge practicalities to get over before we're at that stage. Like,
yeah, definitely. And I mean, I thought that was quite a foolish comment for him to make anyway. Like, I've been watching, to be honest, last week. No, I know. Last weekend, basically the whole weekend, I had the news on, just sort of keeping up with it because it was changing so quickly. And I mean, you're right. It's not good for your mental health, like watching that ticker going along, and you see Trump coming up and saying mad things, and then you've got a Boris Johnson press conference to watch afterwards. But I thought that was a bit of a mad thing to throw in at the end of the press conference, that it'd be 12 weeks and then we'd be turning the tide. Because, like, I mean, if you look at the way it's gone in countries before us who have been affected more quickly, China, Italy, and so on, that's not the case. Like, and I think I've sort of over the past few days been coming to terms with the fact that it's great news that they're gonna sort of find a way to complete the season, whether that is starting at April, which feels optimistic, or further down the line. Sort of coming to terms with the fact that we won't be there. We won't be there in the stadium watching it. That it won't be a behind the closed doors thing, which is horrible. Because I was driving back home this morning, sun shining, and I was thinking to myself, God, in another world, tomorrow we would all been going to Anfield for a 5:30 kickoff to watch. And I know that isn't really one to get the spirits lifted. But on the flip side of that, I was thinking, well, there's been talk that this season gets null and void, and there has been, various people piping up in the media, often for their, with their own interests in mind, saying that the season should be cancelled. I'm getting messages from United fans back home saying that they reckon so. What about next season? You need to think about next season. Well, this season, how do you start next season without this season and working out who wins it? We know who's going to win it, who finishes bottom, who's relegated, who's promoted, and so on. So, I'm coming to terms with the fact now that it's going to be behind closed doors, and I reckon by sort of 4 or 5 weeks we'll just be happy to watch something. I know it's not the same, and it's not meeting in the pub with your mates, and it's not the social aspect that we all love football for. That it is the social thing, isn't it? It's the being with your mates before and after and all of that. Often, as much as the actual football and the routine of all that. And obviously we won't have that, but I reckon in a month or so we'll just be dying for some new football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the practicalities are obviously around. Sort of, there has to be there's still going to have to be police there, medical staff, things like that. And obviously, we know that the NHS is massively overstretched. All the people that work for that doing a fantastic job, but putting themselves under a lot of stress. And on the news today, obviously, talking now about bringing back people who've retired, who've previously worked for the NHS, and getting them to come and help out. So, I mean, there is a huge crisis going on, and we've got to keep saying that and putting it in the context. But we are trying to sort of talk about football still, just to get away from it, just for something different. I mean, I think that's why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, I tried to write something yesterday. Well, I did write something yesterday, put it out there, and I got little bits of stick here and there. And I thought, well, we can't pretend we don't like football anymore. Of course, it's important in the context, not important in the context of what's going on, but it's still important in the whole of our lives. I mean, we've been football fans all of our lives, spent all this money, all this time, all this emotion. Can't just turn it off. So the idea that we don't talk about it is ridiculous, really. And I thought it was a bit grim. I mean, some Evertonians jumped on me and stuff like that, and I just thought, lads, just not the time for this, surely. No. Like, I'm allowed to write a piece giving me opinion about football without having to defend myself like to dickheads like you, aren't I? Well, apparently not. Like, but anyway,
I think just on that. Sorry, just to football's always been an escape for people, hasn't it? And at this moment in time, and further down the line, when this pandemic gets worse, because it will get worse, we're still going to need that. So, like, what we're doing now is an escape. The people that are watching this is an escape from all of this. It's escape from the isolation. So I don't see why that should stop. And I think you're spot on there. Like, you shouldn't be taking shit about that on the internet, because from the start we're saying that yes, there's much bigger problems in the world as to whether a football season finishes, will Liverpool win the league, blah blah blah. But like, the thought of it, it'll keep a lot of people going, because I do worry about I worry about mates whose whole life and whose whole sort of everything they do in their social lives is centered around football and going home and away, and suddenly that's taken away from them, and suddenly they're not around their mates all of the time, and suddenly they don't have that thing that is that one thing in their life that they enjoy. Do you know what I mean? So I think you've mentioned it and talked about the effects that can have on mental health and the effects that it will have over the coming months, and so any little escape that we can have from all of this is a positive.
Absolutely, mate. And I think on that theme as well, just trying to find people who are being sound about it all, I think helps as well. And on the subject of being sound, then I don't know if you saw. Andy Robertson did like a Q&A on his Twitter yesterday, and it was really good. He's just a nice fella. He's a good fella, isn't he? We've been fortunate enough to interview him a couple of times, and you'd want him as a mate. He'd be a good pint, and he just jumped on and he was answering questions. And someone sent a great picture of him going in for a tackle with Virgil when he's at Dundee United and Virgil's at Celtic. And someone had put what happened here or whatever, and Robbo was like, yeah, I won the ball and I had him in my pocket all game, and I was laughing at that, and then it just come up. Virgil replied, I megged him. And it was just cool as fuck, and it was boss, you know what I mean? Like, they're obviously sitting at home, bored as well, not knowing what's going on as well, and I just thought, it's a nice little bit of light relief. So if you haven't spotted that, go and have a look at Robertson's Twitter. Someone else who's sound, and I've thought this for a while. Stay with me on this. Troy Deeney's sound,
I'm with you. I love him. I think he's brilliant.
He's absolutely boss. I mean, I just think he in loads of interviews he does, he's really candid, and he says stuff you wouldn't expect him to. There's that thing he said where he said Arsenal didn't have the bollocks or whatever, which was great ages ago. And he's just he said the thing about Virgil's being brilliant and also smelling nice, and he's just there's something about him, and I think a lot of people are quite grey in the media that they do, and he's always got something to say. Anyway, on a purely from our biased red point of view, he's on our side here. He said that he told the BBC, I don't know when or how, but we've got to finish the league. It's got to come to a fair outcome. If you null and void it, Liverpool are wounded. And he says, everyone wants to see them win it now. They've been great. What a guy. What a guy.
Do you know why I like him? And it goes the same for Andy Robertson, who, like you mentioned, when we've met him, he doesn't come across as a footballer. He comes across as this normal fella. I always think of Andy Robertson as being just a fella I used to play football with when I was a kid. He just looks like that and he acts like that. And Troy Deeney's the same. Troy Deeney doesn't come off as a footballer. In the way that he talks and the way that he carries himself, I just think he just comes across as he'd be a good pint. I mean, He's been in prison, hasn't he? He'll have some stories to tell when you're having a pint with him. I've had a soft spot since that goal he scored for Watford against Leicester gets him into the playoff final, where Leicester missed the penalty. If you haven't seen this, go onto YouTube, find it. It is one of the best 2 minutes of football I've ever seen. But Leicester missed the penalty. It's the end of the game, goes straight up the pitch. Deeney bangs it in. Vicarage Road is going mad. Deeney just runs and just jumps over the hoarding and right into the fans. It's 2 minutes of the best football. So I've always had a soft spot for him since that. But yeah, you're right. He seems to he just talks sense. There's no bullshit with him. There's no sort of media narrative. It's just exactly what he thinks in the moment. And he's absolutely spot on about the Reds, isn't he?
Yes, he's great. Few other little bits then. I don't want a big discussion around this, but it's from Mundo Deportivo, so I've no idea how whether they should be relied on or not. But as I've said on a couple of these now, I think it's wild, stroke good that transfer gossip just continues relentlessly. And there's another one here that Man United have inquired about Phil Coutinho. Because obviously his future at Barcelona is massively in doubt. Just don't do it, Phil. I mean, our memories of you at Old Trafford, the little dink, and we want to keep that memory no matter what happened in the end. So don't go there, lads. I mean, I wasn't Emre Can's biggest fan, but when he came out and said, "I'm not going to Man United because of my Liverpool connections,"
Phil Coutinho's agent has said who's the really well-known agent? That's who Coutinho's at anyway. His agent, whenever last summer when there was sort of talk of maybe him going back to Liverpool and he was sort of looking at where he could go out on loan and stuff, his agent said that Phil Coutinho wouldn't go to United and that's why he'd gone to Bayern. So, I mean, seemingly it hasn't gone very well for him at Bayern. We met a Bayern supporter in Germany a couple of years ago and we sort of kept in touch with him and I mean, they're not impressed by him at all. So God knows what his next move is. Just like you say, I hope it's not Old Trafford.
And lastly, there is another virus that seems to be sweeping through the football world right now, and that is talking shite. Because a number of pundits.
I hope this isn't just me and you.
Yeah, that's me and Talking Red. No.
I keep forgetting we're doing Talking Reds here and we're just chatting about it, and then I'm like, shit, make a footy point.
No, this talking shite that's sweeping through is, I mean, got Alan Smith, who's had a couple of goes at it now around Liverpool. His latest one is Liverpool could lose all of their remaining 9 games, so that's why they shouldn't be given the title. No one's asking to be given the title, you helmet. Like, we want the season to be finished and then we want to be rewarded the title for all those games we played. We played 76% of the season already, Al, and we need to get 2 wins and the title is defo ours. What's this given shit? And as if we're going to lose 9 games, what are you on about? As if these lads who've been brilliant for like best part of 3 years are all of a sudden going to be shit. It's not going to happen, mate. When we get back in that ground, when they get back in that ground, they're going to be chomping at the bit to go again and win and get the title over the line. And like, I just don't get why fellas like him are given time. And look, just fuck off, Al. All right. And then
you know what? There's been a bit of that. Like, did you see? It was Neil on Sky Sports News yesterday. We put it up on our social media, so you'll be able to find it on our Twitter and Facebook. And the fella's saying to Neil, he's like, they could come back and lose all their games. And it's like, no, there's no sort of evidence to
and City win all theirs.
Suggest it's like they think that the team's going to come back and it's like Space Jam where lots of monsters have stolen their powers. Do you know what I mean? They're just going to come back. Like as if it's me and you playing up front, you know? You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. They've lost, they've dropped points in 2 games this season, and they were beaten once last season. There is nothing to suggest over the last 2 years that to show that theory to be correct. It's just not going to happen.
And the other one is Don Hutchinson.
Oh yeah,
he's been saying that. He was talking about Liverpool selling Salah or Mane, and he was saying he definitely wouldn't sell Mane. Neither would I. Agree with him on that bit. But then he was, yeah, cheers, Don. But he was saying on Mo Salah, he'd consider it, especially if it meant we could get someone like Sancho, because his reason for this is that he says Mo Salah can't pass the ball 5 yards, and I was like. And he's like doubled down on it. Like he hasn't just sort of left it at that. So he says, when we're talking about the Champions League, just before the Atletico Madrid game, you watch Mo Salah and the guy does genius things, but he does the most basic things so bad it's untrue. He can't pass a ball 5 yards. He seems to keep playing this ball where he tries to nutmeg everyone from whatever side he's on. If he's coming off the right onto the left, tries to play it to a striker through a body of players that's never, ever on. And you watch him and go, surely this is being coached. Surely Jurgen Klopp and his coaching staff have tried to coach Mo Salah. He does the basic things really badly.
This is mad. That's why I might spend my time now just making a compilation of Mo Salah doing short passes and then send it to Don Hutchinson on Twitter. Fucking plank. Well, like I like how he's referencing it as if like Klopp has identified this as a problem, like as if him and Pep Linders at the end of each session are going, right, that's the team done. Mo, short passes 6 yards. You and Pep now. You know what I mean? It's just not a thing. Where's that come from? Is that in a newspaper or is it in an interview? Like it feels like it's something where he's been trying to get a point across and then he's just said something. But you know, sometimes when you're on these videos, right? And this is sort of like behind the curtain stuff, but sometimes in these videos you say something and then you're like, shit, why did I say that? And then you just run with it. I think that's what's happened. Don, it happens to best of us. Mo Salah can pass 6 yards. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, just to really stun that. I mean, I want to double down on Don now. You know, because Don doubled down on Mo, so you know you've got to hit back, haven't you? It's something to do. So obviously Mo Salah has scored 91 goals in 144 games, which is why he's rated in the sort of 150 million to 200 million bracket in the world. But also, I just thought I'd have a look at his passes. I mean, this is only in the Premier League this season, but he's got 6 assists. So, I mean, there's some passes for you that have found feet and led to a goal. Then he's created 12 big chances. So, you know, that's all right as well, isn't it? And of all the passes he's made in the Premier League this season, all of them in all the Premier League games, 76% have been accurate. And when they've been in our half, 89% have been accurate. And when they've been in the opposition's half, 71% have been accurate. So that's not bad for someone who can't pass the ball 5 yards.
Don must have a high bar, do you know what I mean? 99% or nothing. Like, what was he doing when he was a footy player? What was his passing like? Was it decent? Just to his man every single time.
I mean, look, mate, Don obviously went and played for the Blues, didn't he? And maybe when he was having blue ketchup on his bacon, it affected his mind.
But I mean, there maybe is like an underappreciation for what Salah's done in all seriousness, and that feels like it's sort of seeped through into what Big Don's saying there. Do you know what I mean? That he like, maybe we don't realize just how good Salah is. Like, you look at the stats, and the stats are brilliant, but it doesn't feel like anyone in the media is shouting from the rooftops saying that Mo Salah is one of the best players in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? It's as soon as he's gone 5 games without scoring, or a few games without scoring, it's always in a drought. There's this magnifying glass on him at all times, but they only ever speak about the negative part of it. That's what I feel with Mo Salah. He's incredible, and he's one of those players that in years to come will be telling, you know, the younger generation that, like, fuck me, what a player, like, eulogizing over him and talking about the goals he scored. Like, some of the massive goals he scored throughout his career in Liverpool. He's just, you know, I hope he's here for a long, long time, because he's a joy to watch, and he's given us some proper moments and experiences.
And what do we remember Don Hutchinson's Liverpool career for? Answers on a postcard.
99% passing accuracy in training. Must have been.
Wasn't that? It was an incident when he was. It was an incident when he was away with the Reds, but we'll leave it there. That has been Talking Reds. We've gone long here. Everyone might shout at us, but I've had a laugh. Craig looks like he's enjoyed himself there as well. We hope you've enjoyed yourself too. Like I say, we're going to keep on going. Up the Reds. Stay safe. Watch old videos of Reds. It's good for the soul. Keep on listening, watching, reading the Anfield app. Up the fucking Reds.